Yo, what's good, everybody? I want to welcome everybody back to the No Level Cap podcast. I am Sage Ashford, and this is the No Level Cap crew, where we talk about all the anime, all the gaming, and none of the bullshit. No Level Cap goes live every Monday. If you prefer the video version, we're on YouTube, and if we prefer the audio version, we're live on Spotify as well. We put up bite-sized versions of our podcasts on TikTok. If you're a millennial or a Gen Z and your attention span is just completely fucked up. All right, so here's the thing. We wanted to do a predictions podcast like a week from now. And then Sony was like, no. You're going to do one now. Because like we come up with pop topics for like the next podcast on like a Thursday. And on Thursday, they were like, yo, what's up with this state of play? We got a 30-minute state of play we're going to drop. And I've seen people go, this isn't going to be a big deal. It's a state of play. You know, if they wanted to do a big deal, it would be a PlayStation meeting or whatever. And I'm not going to get caught up in all of that, the terminologies. I understand where they're coming from. This may not have your God of War. It may not have all your big deal stuff. It might not. You don't know. But one way or another, we are at the Summer Games Fest, Summer Game Showcase type stuff. It's time. Like it's just time for that stuff, and it's time to see what everybody has. And at this point, I think we're looking at like, if you don't see it here, it ain't coming out this year. If you do see it here, it still may not come out this year. You might just be asked out. So I did want to see everybody's predictions. We're gonna do 5 rounds. Everybody's gonna come up with a different prediction. We're gonna have fun with it. It doesn't have to be serious. I told y'all that ahead of time. It doesn't have to be serious. It can be goofy. It can just be kind of some silly nonsense. However, you do get points. Whoever's the most right, when we come back in 2 weeks, after all this stuff is said and done, we'll see who was the most correct. And we'll give, bragging points, bragging rights, and you'll be, the crown holder until next year of like the most, well, until the Games Awards, because we're gonna come back and do it at the Games Awards too. But like until then, for like 6 months, you'll get to be the number one, the most right person. In fact, I think that's what we're gonna call you, the most right person until then. So, let's just go ahead and kickstart it. I'm gonna go first, not to cheat, but just to like let y'all know I really don't care. I don't think Final Fantasy 16 comes out this year. I'm not saying we don't see it. I think we do see it. I think we see it at Sony's show. I guess we could say like that could be part of the prediction that we do see it at Sony's show and not at like Jeff Keighley's show. But like ultimately, I think that we either don't get a date at all, which I don't think is going to happen. I think we're going to get a date, but it's going to be like early 2023, something that falls in like to Square's fiscal year, which doesn't end until March 31st. So it'll be like, a February or like early March, but it ain't going to be 2022. Like you can forget that. I just don't think Square got it in them to be like, we're going to show it off in June. And then here it is, November 16th or whatever, 2022, we've got it. I don't believe in them like that. I'm sorry. Like I would love to be wrong. Like this is one of those where I'm like betting where either way I win. Either I win on here or we get Final Fantasy 16. So like one way or the other, I win. So that's my first prediction. Terrence, let's what you got, man? What's your first prediction?
So my first one is I think we're gonna see Persona at State of Play. Like I think
Persona
that
6? Persona 6?
Now that's the thing. I don't know if it's going to be Persona 6. Since this is the 25th anniversary of Persona in general, we don't know what we might see. It could be a Persona collection. Could be Persona 6. I think Persona 6 is just big.
Would you like to double down on that? Like you're saying we'll see something Persona related. That's fair. Would you like to go for 2 points? And if there's Persona 6, you get 2 points. But it's like a double or nothing type of deal.
I don't think it's Persona 6. If there's going to be anything Persona related, I think it'll be maybe like a collection or maybe like a remaster of 3, because 3 is like the only one that's still kind of, I think is only available on like PS. And I don't know. I guess whenever they bring like PS Plus, maybe it'll come with that. But as of right now, I think really the only way you could play Persona 3 is through like original hardware or like the PS3 through like the PlayStation Store or whatnot. So I think Persona will be there. I think that would be the most logical thing for Atlas to do, is to be at a state of play. If they're not, I'll put it this way: if it isn't like a Persona collection or Persona 6, I'm betting more so like a Persona collection or Persona 3 like remaster or something like that. If not that, I think, and I mean, this is not Summer Games Fest, this is me going into like Evo. I think that Persona 5 Arena, if that's happening, that's when that will be revealed. So I think either way, we're going to get some kind of Persona project this year. But if I had to be a betting man, I think it's going to be like a Persona collection or like a Persona 3 remaster that'll be announced at the state of play.
Okay, so I'm going to need a little bit of confirmation, a little bit of like clarification on this.
You just want me to give like a hard answer, like a hard, which one I think?
No. I'm just saying specifically, you think something Persona is going to be at state of play, or do you think something Persona will be shown between now and Evo?
I think something in general Persona will be shown between now and Evo, but if I had to bet on one or the other, I think it will be at state of play. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Persona 5 was announced at a Sony event. So if there's going to be like a Persona 6 or a Persona collection, I think it just makes logical sense for that to be at another Sony event. Because more than likely, those games are going to end up being on a Sony console again. I don't see them going to Xbox. They haven't in all this time. So I think they will probably show up at another Sony event.
Okay, so that covers the other thing I was going to ask you. Do you believe that Persona could possibly show up on another console, like on a Nintendo Switch or something like that? And you're saying no,
not Persona. I think this kind of leans into one of my other predictions, but I think I'll leave it alone. That I think SMT could have something this year, but we don't know. But yeah, I think Persona is more likely for PlayStation than any other like Atlas property, I would say. Because like SMT, I think that might be more of a Nintendo thing now. It's not like Atlas is married to Nintendo, but I think they're just more likely to put SMT on Nintendo now, just because that seems to be the way they roll.
Okay, all right. Rakeem, what's up?
Sir.
What you got for prediction number 1?
For prediction number 1, I believe I'm going with probably a safe bet. I believe Star Ocean, the new Star Ocean, is coming out this year. I think at the Sony State of Play, we're going to get a release date for that Star Ocean game. I just feel like Square Enix wants to get their lower budget titles compared to the bigger titles out in a more timely manner. They seem to be been at a pretty good pace of like spacing their games out throughout the year. So I think we'll get a prediction of the release date for Star Ocean. Other than that, I'm reiterating piggyback kind of off your FF16, because as everyone knows, I love Final Fantasy and I really want to play FF16. But I do somewhat agree that it's probably not coming out this year, but I think we will see a trailer. See a trailer.
Oh, look, I'm not even, that's not even on my list. Like the idea of them not like between now and the next, what do we have 2-3 weeks, something like 3 weeks, I think. By the 18th, when we come back and do the we will have seen something from Final Fantasy. Like, I'm sorry, like I just can't. If we haven't, not only is that motherfucker not coming out this year, but like we need to be concerned as to whether that's coming, like if that's okay, like if that project's okay. Because like we were supposed to see something last year because they showed it off in, I think, 2020, and their response was more next year. We didn't get shit next year. Like it was in 2020 and next year was 2021, and Final Fantasy fans was at the edge of their seat for the whole year and nothing happened. And so like
I'm still at the edge of my seat right motherfucking now. Just waiting. Give it to me, Square.
So we got absolutely nothing. And then like now, I think they said they wanted to show it off before like in the spring. I mean, hell, it ain't that much spring left. I think spring ends early June, like really early June, and then it's September. I mean, then it's summer. So like
June.
Now Yoshi P said something like the next time he showed it off, I think he was talking to like Yoko Taro, if I'm not mistaken. But he was definitely talking to somebody I think that worked on the Nier project, and he was like, "Yeah, the next time I show it off, I want it to be really close to release." So, is he holding to that, and maybe we don't see it until like December or something, and then it comes out early 2023, or do we see it, in June? I feel like we're going to see it in June, and it's still going to be like a 2023 project, though. So, but you're saying, just to, make sure we got the clarification. We're gonna get Star Ocean 6 at the Sony State of Play,
I believe,
and it's gonna be like the release date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, I was definitely thinking the exact same thing. Will, what's up? What's your first prediction?
Okay, so I know we've been talking about State of Play and all these other ones, but someone that kind of came to mind was, well, Nintendo. And I don't know exactly what it is they may be playing coming up soon. I don't know, but there is something I kind of want to see, and this is a personal one for me. And where is my Advance Wars?
They did push that back.
Now I understand why, because people are considering this series kind of cursed, because the first game came out directly before 9/11 happened. And when that happened, they pushed the European version back. They was like, okay, so this didn't happen. We're not going to send y'all this game yet. Let us wait. So, as you know, real life events happened again, and Advance Wars got pushed back again.
I mean, it's incredibly cartoony violence, so I don't understand how this is harming anybody, but I understand them trying to be sensitive about it. So
yeah, I like they being sensitive about it. I can't be mad, but at the same time, I gotta ask myself, how long will it be before I see something else again giving us an exact day? Because the last thing I seen was it's supposed to be came out in, if I'm not mistaken, April.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
And then once you know what went to happening across the water, they was like, okay, we're gonna push this back indefinitely. We don't know when we're gonna push this back out. Until this clears itself up, we're not putting this game. So I'm just like, I thank y'all, I appreciate y'all, but sooner or later this game kind of got to hit the shelf soon. You can't keep it kind of locked up due to real life events and so on. Like I said, it's cool to be sensitive about it. We understand. But there's gonna have to be a time where it comes out or you letting down this fan base that's been waiting on this game.
I mean, it's not so much the fan base, but like you spending so much money, like you spent money on this project, like you gotta see some type of return. You're not just gonna vault it. You know, it's not a smack battle. You can't just throw it in the vault. So at some point they're gonna have to release it. So what is your specific prediction? Are you saying that at the Nintendo Direct, which hasn't been announced, but I mean, like there's a Nintendo Direct every summer, so that we're gonna just take that. Are you saying that at the Nintendo Direct we'll see Advance Wars?
Yes, I believe we should see something involving Advance Wars coming this summer. If we should see something, they should at least show us this game at least by October or maybe even August, if so. So that way we can kind of see it show up at least give us some clarification on it. So yeah, that's what I'm looking to see.
Okay. All right, that's cool. I mean, like I respect it. I think that they probably should start telling us about Advance Wars. It's been months now. Like it was like you said. I believe it was supposed to be out in either March or April, and you know we're well past that. And I mean, I could see it coming. I actually could see them like because it's done. So I can see them, it's showing up at Nintendo Direct just to remind everybody that it exists. It's not a huge fan base anyway. So you can kind of like, okay, you know, it's, you know, June 12th or whatever. And we're doing the Nintendo Direct. And it comes out July 21st or something like that. I could easily see that. Like, it's not something that's going to need a big runway. So I'm not mad at you for that prediction at all. All right. So round 2. Terrence, you back up, man. What you got for me?
This one will be pretty straightforward. I think we're gonna see Grand Blue relink at State of Play. I think we kind of just have to. If that game's coming out this year, we have to see it at State of Play. If it's not at State of Play, I'll be genuinely shocked that they still think that they can put it out this year. Because it's like you need to have some kind of marketing kind of leading up into it, unless you just want to send it out to die. I mean, in Japan, it'll probably do fine because Grand Blue is huge in Japan. But over here in the West, if you want it to succeed, you're going to have to like put out a good trailer, gameplay, and then have some marketing building up to that release, which I could see the release being in that, you know, September, October, November range. Cause I mean, that's when a lot of games come out. But I mean, I will say if it does come out around that time, I see you, Sage, and I agree. If it does come out at that time, that will be kind of rough for it because that'll be a lot of competition, but we'll see. I think that we will get a release date we'll get definitive gameplay, because I mean we've seen gameplay, but we kind of haven't, because it seems like so much stuff has changed with the development that we don't really know what the game fully looks like. So I think we'll see full gameplay and we'll get an actual release date. And if it doesn't release this year, then I guess, well, if I'll put it this way, if we don't see it, then I'm going to assume it's probably not coming out this year, because if you don't show it off during like June, during like all these big game announcements, or you wait until, I guess in theory they could wait until later, they could wait until like July, August or whatever, but I don't know, that just seems a bit too short. What you got, Will?
Okay, something just clicked in my head about the whole Grand Blue thing, and Side Games and that whole little crew had their own little thing that they be doing across the, I think it's like what, the Side Games Fest or something like that.
They
Don't
can't wait that long. They can't wait that long.
I know they can't, but I have a feeling they're gonna try.
Well, the reason why I say they can't wait that long is because that's in December.
I know.
So that's what you're saying. What you're saying is it's not coming out this year, and they'll just show up in December, and they'll tell us about like the release date in 2023 or something like that.
Something like that. I feel like they may mess around and pull that on us if they don't mess around and do it coming now. If they don't do it now, it's gonna have to show up later, and it's gonna be.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. If we don't see it if we don't see it in June, I think that I can agree with that. Probably just show up later. I think logically it would make the most sense to do it as State of Play, because that's when the most like Western eyes will be on it. Like if they did it a Side Games event, then Japan obviously would care about it more. But if you just only, if you do it at like just a regular Side Games event, I think only the diehard Grand Blue fans will find out about it, and everybody else will be like, I didn't know anything about this game. So that's my pick, just because I think if that game is going to come out this year, they have to show it now. It's kind of like we're at that midpoint of the year. If you don't show it now, it ain't coming out. At least that's the way I see it.
Right.
I agree with you on that part. Like, I definitely don't think it's coming out this year if we don't see it. But State of Play, and not like Jeff Keighley's show.
I always say State of Play just because is it what let me see. What systems is the game coming out for? Because I think
everything, right?
Is it coming out for everything?
I believe so.
Let me just check real quick. It looks like PC, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. That's what I'm seeing. And if that's the case, I'm not saying that Japanese games don't show up as summer games. I'm not saying that at all. But I think I'd be more inclined to believe it would show up at a Sony event than would to show at Summer of Games. There's like other stuff that I think could show up at Summer Games. I just think specifically Grand Blue has a higher chance of showing up at State of Play than it does Summer Games Fest.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I'm just saying, like, this thing about the State of Play. I mean, like, the State of Play, if you read it, like when they told you when they first announced it, they said it was going to be third-party announcements and reveals or updates,
right.
Third-party announcements and updates, and then like PSVR stuff. So like that kind of you probably won't get Spider-Man 2. Like if you were looking for Spider-Man 2, that probably you won't see it until maybe September. I feel like they've kind of moved their big showcase to September. They did it in 2020. They had one in September. They did it in 2021. They had one, I believe, around September or so. And I think they'll do it again this year. So I think a lot of the big first party stuff probably won't be there. So yeah, I mean, I guess, it's 30 minutes. And there's only so much PSVR people are willing to take before they go, Sony, why did you waste our fucking time? Get this privileged goggle shit the fuck out of here. So, I can see that.
I will say that if I don't know if I see all these RPGs showing up at the same place. I think you're only going to see maybe like a couple, maybe like one or two, and that's it. So I mean, we mentioned Star Ocean, we mentioned Persona, I mentioned Grand Blue. I don't know. I don't know if we'll see all of those in the same place. I would love to be wrong. I would love to absolutely be wrong, but I'm not as optimistic in that regard.
Hell, the last State of Play, I think in March or whatever, like late March, they was like, I think they loaded it down with RPGs. It was like Forspoken and DioField Chronicles, Valkyrie Elysium, and I think I forget Stranger of Paradise. Like all four of them showed up at the last State of Play. I mean, they're in. Sony is in bed with Sony. I mean, they're in bed with Square Enix for sure. Like that's why that rumor popped up that Sony might be buying Square Enix because they have so many partnerships. So I mean, like you could see a lot of JRPGs there. Like it could be, you could get Star Ocean, you could get Grand Blue Fantasy, you could get a lot of shit that probably would appeal to us four specifically, and then make the rest of the internet really fucking angry, which I'm cool with because we win. But like, I could see it. I could definitely see it.
If it happens, that'd be great. I just think that if Sony is trying to show off kind of like their bigger stuff to appeal to everyone, that's the only reason why I think that we won't see as many. But hey, if it happens, hey, this is one of those cases I would glad to be wrong.
Amen.
I mean, I've seen so many people say, "Oh, State of Play isn't gonna have a lot of shit." So, I'm not like, if it is smaller games, I mean, like, I could totally see it. Like, if it's smaller games, Grand Blue counts as a smaller game because, like, when they talk about big games, they're talking about God of War, they're talking about Spider-Man 2, they're talking about Wolverine, they're talking about what the hell, whatever Naughty Dog's working on. They're talking about those type of games, those size games. So.
Yeah, and that. Well, I don't want to take away from anyone's prediction, so I won't toss what I was going to say. So I'll just leave that be.
Okay.
Shit, I'd have stole it, but I mean, you know, you're a better one than I am. However, I am going to be fair and go last this time. So if y'all can get something that I don't have, because somebody already got one of my alternates, so but I had like 5 alternates, so I'm good. Rakeem, what's up, man?
Hey, yeah, man. So I'm gonna talk about the Summer Games Fest because I always want to have a moment to talk about Ubisoft. Because to me, like during summer games or like any summer event, Ubisoft always had like those big games to kind of show off during their things back in the old E3 days, which feels like a long time ago, which it really wasn't, but it feels like it now, doesn't it?
I mean, but it kind of is though. Like we had E3, but we had like a digital E3 last time. Like
right.
The last real E3 we had was 2019.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like almost 4 years ago now. So
yeah, so this Summer Games Fest, I expect the re-debut of Skull and Bones. It's been a few years. There's already been some leaks about it. Me and you talked about it a couple years ago when it first debuted. For our viewers who have never seen Skull and Bones or don't remember it very well, it was the pirate game that did with ship combat, and that was it. You didn't get off the ship. You just shot people, and it was like Sea of Thieves, but even more boring, which is wild. So I think everyone's response is kind of the same. Like, this is cool. It looks cool graphically. I like the tone and stuff, but I like more freedom out of the ship. And I feel like Ubisoft listened a little bit. I feel like they kind of paid attention to some of the feedback and they might have addressed it. I don't expect it to change super drastically, but I expect there to probably be some more elements of getting off the ship, feeling more like a pirate, the treasure hunting and all those things. I'm excited to see that because I personally do love pirates. So I want to see what they do with it.
I'm going to stop you before you get too far ahead of yourself. If you remember, I showed you a link that had Skull and Bones gameplay, and there was no getting off the ship. You just on the ship and you on the ship. So, that felt like it was fairly recent gameplay. And if it almost felt like, to be honest with you, it felt like the trailer verbatim that we're going to see at whatever, like whenever Ubisoft shows it off, it felt like, cause like it wasn't just gameplay. Right, this was like a put together at a showcase type trailer with the female narrator in the background. Skull and Bones is a game where you and your friends can ally together and fight against other ships. Like it was that type shit. So like it wasn't here's raw gameplay that some tester captured and that motherfucker finna be fired and probably sued because he broke an NDA. It wasn't none of that. It was a straight up, we leaked. Somebody found a gameplay trailer that will go up on YouTube, and there was no ship combat. So do you think that that's an old video and there still will be on foot combat, or do you think that maybe they strip that out just so they get this game out the door? Because otherwise they're gonna have, I think, Singapore on their ass.
I think maybe not the off-script combat, but maybe like exploration off the ship a little bit. maybe like going to the town, dealing with people that way. Because I kind of felt what you said when I saw the trailer. Like, it didn't look like they changed. That's why I mentioned earlier. It's not going to change drastically. There's probably just going to be a few more elements that's a little more immersive because it was just a little bit too standoffish at first. It might also just been an online free-to-play versus game, kind of like Battle of the Tanks or something like that.
It may yet be that, actually. Like that.
Oh, that's true.
And see, here's the thing. The rumor is that it is exactly like that. Like if you looked at the gameplay, like if you pay really close attention to the trailer, at one point you get close to an island and then you like press a button and you automatically get resources from the island. So I mean, like it could be a very stripped down thing, but you think that there's going to be on foot gameplay, and you also think that it's going to be at Summer Game Fest.
Yes, I believe it's going to be at Summer Games Fest.
Okay.
Adding into that, talking about the Skull and Bones thing, just the Ubisoft presentation. I also expect them to kind of re-debut X-Define in some kind of way. Maybe some kind of
okay, hold on.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this, because this is an alternate that I had, and we're probably not gonna get to it because I don't think y'all gonna take too many of my like main ones. Do you think Ubisoft is just not gonna have a show this year? Because they usually have one. They usually have like at E3 they used to have their own. The last couple of years they've had Ubisoft Forward. I do remember Jeff Keighley saying something to the effect that a lot of third-party publishers weren't going to be doing their own show this year, and instead they'd be showing up at like major, developers, maybe at Summer Game Fest also, but at like, the Microsoft, the Sony, the Nintendos. So do you think that there won't be a Ubisoft show at all?
No Prince of Persia, at least.
That's
I mean, they already said that was delayed. So
that game is in development hell right now.
That wasn't on my list. And it never will be.
I hope it wasn't on anyone's list.
Man, hell no. What? Don't take no L's.
But getting back to your question, I didn't think about that. I guess I just assumed to be kind of lumped in with some of the bigger presentations like Xbox. Man, maybe it will. Like, thinking about it now, Ubisoft might say that for their own showcase, especially since they're debuting a lot of these games. I really expect X-Divine to kind of have another kind of trailer, because I think that first reception was really negative. And if they don't just want to can the game entirely, they're going to have to even if they don't redo the game, reapproach the presentation of how they presented the game. Because I think it kind of felt like, when I was watching it, at least when I first saw it, it felt like Call of Duty, but with a like really, really cheesy, trying to get in touch with the teenage demographic kind of color, and even the title X-Define with a big X on there, like it's like some 90s stuff.
How do you do, fellow kids, basically?
Exactly. That's what it felt like. It was like, how you do, fellow kids? This is our Call of Duty. It was just like Call of Duty, except for younger people, for the edgelords. And actually, now I think about this, tying into that, I played The Crew recently. I know you played Riders Republic, and there is kind of a feeling of that sometimes when I play The Crew.
That's just Ubisoft in general. Like, they're kind of like out of touch and trying to be in touch. That's just kind of them.
Yeah, they're kind of like got this younger culture. It feels like it's trying to get that X Games 90s skateboarder aesthetic, and it's like 20 years too late.
Shit, it's damn near 30 years too late. that time period has passed. But I mean, that's just what they want.
All right, and I guess lumping in for the last part for the Ubisoft thing, I say it every year, and I gotta say it one more time. Goddamn, we gonna get a Splinter Cell trailer this year. I don't give a fuck. I said it last year, I was wrong. I said the year before that, I was wrong. I said the year before that, I was also wrong. But this year, I got the.
So you've got 3 predictions in one. I am going to be kind to you, and if you get Skull and Bones at Summer Game Fest, I'll let you have it.
Okay.
I'll give you 1 point.
Okay.
If you get Ubisoft does their own show, I'll give you 2 points. If you get Splinter Cell, I'll give you 3 points. And if Splinter Cell doesn't show up, I'm not gonna take away from your points for that one.
Okay.
That's the only one that I'm giving you that for.
At this point, Splinter Cell is what Jax is to Devin. Splinter Cell is to Rocky.
I gotta have it, man. I gotta hear that. I gotta hear that.
Every year, hey man, Devin's like, soon we will get Jack 4. Hey man.
I really wish Devin was here for this show just so he could be like,
you and me both,
that would have been his first prediction. Jack 4 made by Naughty Dog. Like, man, ain't no Jack 4 coming, bro. Now you know what though? I don't want to cap because like I heard Sly Cooper was being in development,
I
and
do
like
hear that.
Ratchet and Clank is
you
around.
mean after
so
they scrapped the whole
believable.
movie?
they did scrap it, but they said, look, we scrapped the movie, we ain't scrapped the game. So I can totally see. I don't know, like it makes me uncomfortable that Crash came back, Spyro came back, Ratchet and Clank never went anywhere, and Sly Cooper. Like I'm feeling less and less comfortable saying that Jack 4 will never happen now because like we in the era of like let's go back and find some shit that worked in the past and see how we can get some money out of it. See what old millennials will buy it and shit. Like we in that era, so I'm feeling less and less comfortable about making that a meme because I don't want to be like, you said it was never happened, Sage. Now what? Like, I overestimated the gaming industry. I didn't realize how greedy they fucking were. So I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say Jack 4 will never happen. I don't think Splinter Cell is gonna happen. I was very tempted to be like, look, Keem, I'm gonna make it a triple or nothing. And if you get Splinter Cell, I'll give you points for. In fact, actually, no, I ain't gonna do that to you. I could be really cold and be like, look, if you get Splinter Cell, I give you points for everything, even if none of the rest of the shit happened. But if Splinter Cell don't show up, you get no points for that shit at all. Like none of them. I don't care if the rest of that shit happened, because you gotta let go of the Splinter Cell thing.
I can't let it go, bro. I gotta have it.
Gotta have my
Okay,
pops.
Yeah,
You gotta have it, bro.
That's it for my prediction. That's the general Ubisoft prediction.
Fair enough, man.
Okay.
Will, what's up, man? What you got for me?
Okay, so I was at work today, and I thought about a game that just kind of came to mind because I remember people asking about it, and someone said, "I want a game with some vampires in it." Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. So I don't know how far off we on for that one. I really don't know, but I'm gonna take a long shot bet and say.
Keem, do you remember what happened to that game? Like
it lost
like
its developers. It lost its main developer.
That's what it lost its writer first because its writer turned out to be a creep, I believe, and then it lost its developer after that, and so now it's just kind of floating.
Limbo.
Yeah.
So you still want to double down on this?
I'm not doubling down. I'm singling down. Just saying, I'm betting on it being. I'm betting on a little something showing up because I had to look into it. I ain't gonna strongly believe in it because I ain't gonna say that the game ain't for me because I could go out and buy it for all I know. You never know. My mind might change by the time it get ready to come out. But I feel like we may see something of it because I know it's been through some turmoil, as y'all just mentioned, and I also just read that it almost got put on the shelf at one point. But they was like, okay, we caught it. We ain't through with it.
Look, I am not a dictator. I am not a hard ass. I am going to offer you an olive branch. Are you sure you want this to be your second prediction?
Damn, Sage hit you with the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Is that your final answer?
Is that your final answer? Yes, sir.
All right then. So this is what we gonna do here.
Would you like to phone a friend?
I'm gonna let Vampire the Masquerade off the hook for now.
Okay.
Since it might just be halfway down the sewage pipe. So I'll do this for the copium.
All right, okay.
Hollow Knight Silk Song. I get tired.
That's one I thought about.
I get tired of going to my scene page, seeing an NA right there. It's on my wish list right this instant. I'm still waiting. I have the game. I do not have Silk Song. Can they please come through with it? Please. For my heart, for the people who played this game, please do us a favor and run that on out. So I want to see that at Summer Games Fest. Thank you, developers. I would like that, please, and thank you. I'm gonna pray to some God out there, please.
That one I'm gonna let you have because it's been a while. People have been wanting it, and like it's a game that we know to be actively in development. I just didn't want to hold you. Like I was gonna I didn't want to be like, look, you said it, you stuck with it, and then they like, it's like, bitch, that motherfucker cancel. Like I don't know what you thought. Like I didn't want you to I didn't want to do that to you. So Hollow Knight Silk Song at Summer Game Fest. I got you. So I think that puts it at me. And let's have some fun. Dragon's Dogma 2.
That's one of my alternates.
We gonna see here. I'm glad I sniped somebody. I was hoping somebody sniped me. I wanted to snipe somebody else. So Dragon's Dogma 2, I don't know if it's going to be at Sony's show. I've heard something else is going to be at Sony's show that is Capcom related. I'm not going to say what if you can't put the dots together, because I mean, like, I'm not going to let y'all just get freebies. So, but I do think it's going to be shown either at State of Play or at Summer Game Fest. I think we see that before the end of the year. I think it comes out sometime next year. I think it's going to be one of the big games of next year. I've heard rumors that it might come out this year, but like I don't know. I know I'm gonna see it. Well, I don't know, but I'm confident that I'm gonna see it. We've seen too much. You had the Capcom ransomware leak. That game, like, supposedly that game was supposed to come out this year. And it was supposed to come out early this year too. And then we saw it again in the Nvidia leak. And again, it was like, hey, that motherfucker is supposed to be this year. I just don't believe in the this year part, because I feel like they would have started to show something. But they did that 10th anniversary thing on the 10th anniversary. And I'm like, all right, this is where there's smoke, there's fire. Dragon's Dogma, that motherfucker. It's been a while. So either at Sony's State of Play or at Summer Game Fest, excuse me. I'm trying to type and write at the same time.
It'd be like that.
But yeah, that's my prediction. Like, I just don't see a universe in which we don't, like, they gotta have something besides Resident Evil and Monster Hunter. Okay, like it's time. And okay, they got not Dino Crisis, and that's cool. That shit is cool. And they got whatever the fuck that horror game is, and that's cool. But they gonna need more than just, a couple of games, one big tentpole game a year. You gotta have more than that. Like, you gotta have some other shit on the side. You gotta have multiple projects coming. And so this, I feel like, is going to be one of their big projects that they're coming out with. So there we go. I just don't like. It would be crazy if they did like a surprise bitches coming out in 2022. And I almost want to like double down and be like a double or nothing. Like, hey, if it come out this year, I get 2 points. If it come out next year, I get nothing. But I'm gonna go with the safe route. I'm not gonna hold myself. So I'm going back to Will, because I mean, Will's been the last guy multiple times. So tell me what's yours on round 3, man?
Okay, so in round 3, we gonna talk. For me, being the indie loving son of a gun, I am. There is a game that got showcased at I think it was Future Games Showcase last year, and it had an alpha come out. It's called Bethesda Lost Haven. And it was on my list to play because I had the link for it and everything already saved up during that time, but I never got around to it. And I've been trying to keep track with it. So far, it's looking really good because it showed gameplay and everything at that time too. So that means they definitely had a base, a template, something down ready for this game to come out. I can't speak much for what the story may be because I don't know much about that. But looking on the Steam page says it's going to be this year that it's coming out in autumn. It says in fall. So I want to see if that pulls up. So I'm going to guess that possibly there's going to be one indie to show up, and I would hope it's Bethesda Lost Haven, because it's right up my alley, because I like hack and slash games in the vein of like Hades or something like a Metroidvania. We're going to see.
Well, look, if y'all don't already know, I, of course, do live streams of all the big showcases, twitch.tv/Sage Shinigami. I do live streams of all these, and I'm positive that there will be a 7,000 hour future game show and a 9,000 hour PC game showcase, at which at least 80% of the games at one will be at the other. So you got a good shot. You got a good shot at seeing Bethesda Lost Haven. You said it was at Future Game Show, last year?
Yeah, at 2021 Future Game Show last year, and it had like a gameplay trailer. It had gameplay and everything out. It's just it had also the alpha as well. So I'm thinking, like, if it has this already, that means it kind of can move a little bit forward. Okay. So maybe we can see something coming soon.
Okay. Rakeem, what's up, man?
All right. So this is my shot in the dark out there. Since Breath of the Wild 2 got pushed back, man, these Nintendo streets been kind of quiet. We know we got Xenoblade 3 coming out, of course. So that's a big project. But for me, I kind of feel like it's time for Mario to come back. I'm predicting the Nintendo Showcase, we're going to see a new Mario game. Maybe it'll be Odyssey 2, maybe not. I think it's time for a new Mario game to at least be shown off or like announced to some degree. Will
2D
it come
or
out this
3D?
year? That's a good one because they do both. I'm gonna go 3D. I'm gonna go 3D. This
Okay.
time.
So
I
are you
usually-
saying like Mario Odyssey, or are you just saying like just a new 3D Mario?
I think it'll be probably a successor to Odyssey, kind of like how Galaxy had 2 parts.
Right.
Yeah, it would make a lot more sense for them to build off what they did with Odyssey, because that was a very successful game, having a sequel to it. And I just really liked that Odyssey rollout. I remember the theme song, the trailers. I don't have a Switch, but I remember that like it was yesterday. Like, I was so fucking pleased that how they presented that Mario Odyssey game. I wanted to buy a Switch that day and just play it. It was so freaking cool. And I kind of want them to build off of that. Maybe they'll do an Odyssey 2, maybe some kind of another open world Mario game to that degree. After they had success with the last one, they should do it again. That's my prediction. Terrence.
What's up, Terrence?
I was just gonna say I think that's a pretty good prediction because I'm looking at when Mario Odyssey came out. It was 2017. If they're gonna do another big Mario game for the Switch, I think that's a good call. I think that's a good call.
I don't think it hits this year. However, I did notice that this year has been almost a sequel to the Switch's launch year. There's a lot of like, okay, we're getting another Xenoblade. They wanted to get us another Zelda. We're getting another Splatoon. They didn't give us another Mario Kart, but they gave us so much DLC for the Mario Kart we got is damn near a new game. So like the only thing we're missing a couple of things, and one of them would be a Mario 3D game, a Mario Odyssey 2 of something of that nature. I like the boldness of that one because just like nobody was talking about a new Mario, you just was like, hey, I just think it's time for one. And I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all
either.
So
yeah, when it comes to Mario, man, it's like that's one franchise that like they just bring it out. I don't usually see the leaks for it, and there might be leaks for it, but it just comes out. It just comes out. They keep it close to the chest.
They got them ninjas.
Yeah. They protect that IP very strongly. I mean, it's their not the coup de grace, the magnum opus. Mario's the magnum opus, so they always want to present it very well. But yeah,
Nintendo is pretty good
Mario
about
game.
keeping their leaks under wrap. I'll give them that. Like usually they're good about having surprises in store.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Mario,
all right, Terrence,
what you got?
What's popping, man? What's your number 3?
All right, this one may be a bit of a Hail Mary, and it may be too soon, but I'm transitioning from state because I'm kind of going from like event to event. Like I'm transitioning to Summer Games Fest now.
Okay.
Like I said, this is a Hail Mary. I think if there's been talk of it, I think if it's going to be announced this year, I think Metal Gear Solid Remake will happen at Summer Games Fest. And the only reason I say that is because of the buddy-buddy relationship.
Shit.
Huh?
Holy shit, let's go.
I just think just because of the buddy-buddy relationship between Jeff Keighley and Kojima, if Kojima like gives this project his full blessing, it depends on if he's fully involved in it or not. What you got?
So there's already a rumor that the next project that they're working on is Death Stranding 2. Yeah. Like they talked to I forget what is this, Mads Mikkelsen? Like, no, not Mads. One of the dudes that worked on don't make me lie like I know the voice actor specifically.
Oh, Mads Mikkelsen was involved with that game, Death Stranding.
Yeah, he was, but I mean, like, I'm not sure who they talked to, but like he was like, yeah, we worked on that game. It was a big project, and we're already getting started on the next one. So are you still thinking that Kojima would be involved in this, or is it just we're going to get a Metal Gear Solid remake?
Here's what I think. I don't think necessarily Kojima Productions is involved in it. I think that as a remake, it's probably being done by somebody else. The rumor is as Bluepoint, and Bluepoint is first party Sony. And since there's no first party titles for Sony at this state of play, if Sony happens to have something at Summer Games Fest, I think that could be it. Now that's, like I said, that's one of those things where it could totally be BS. It could not happen at all, or it may just be too soon. It may be more of a next year kind of thing. But I just have a hunch that if Metal Gear Solid is going to be announced this year, if it's actually happening, if the remake is happening, I think it has a good chance of being announced at the Summer's Game Fest. I just have a feeling on that. I mean, and I think that I don't think it'll be any extravagant kind of trailer. I think it'll be something akin to what we saw with the announcement of Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they just show like a little nostalgic trailer that just gets you in your feels, and then they just say something like, they are coming back. And then, so they'll probably say something like, Solid Snake is coming back. And maybe it'll even be the David Hayter voicing Snake, just to confirm that he's coming back as not Keith Sutherland. I think that's it. You don't get any gameplay. You don't get like a you just get a full motion video that just kind of teases things and just shows you that it's happening. Title card, no release date, no nothing. That's it. You probably, if it is a thing, you're probably not going to see it until like 2026 or something like that. But I think if you're going to announce it,
oh shit,
I think maybe this is me kind of like maybe it could happen 2025 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I think I'm trying to be realistic as possible because I know some gamers are like, yeah, it's going to be announced this year and it'll come out next year. Nah, those days are over. Like unless a game is like way ahead in development, you ain't going to see that shit for like at least 2 years. Like, let's be real. That's kind of like with Spider-Man and Wolverine. Those games aren't coming out until like at least 2024. Let's be real.
True.
So
true.
You know.
I think Spider-Man is scheduled for next year.
Yeah, I will say Spider-Man will probably come out before Wolverine. So Spider-Man probably will be next year, and then Wolverine will probably be 2024. So that's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, nowadays I just don't see games like being announced and then coming out like the next year unless they're just way ahead in development and they have a lot to show. But for these games where they're just showing you like a video and just a teaser, that means they probably they probably just got out like the concept art stage or something. So that's gonna be my Hail Mary, my football shot in the dark. I think that MGS remake has the potential of showing up at Summer Games Fest.
I love the boldness. I do think that if we saw it and it was a Sony project, we wouldn't see it until whatever their September show is.
That
like just because Sony, like if it is a Blue Point thing, like I just don't see the reason. It would be so weird to me if they had a first party game at Jeff's show and it was like, why did you put this? I'm not saying you're wrong because like I've seen weird shit like that before. And my first thought is like, you had a showcase. Why didn't you just shove it all into your showcase to give people a reason to watch? Like, why? Because like, here's the thing. I think it's a diminishing returns type of thing. I think the more you disappoint at your press conferences, the less likely more people are to come back. Like, I was disappointed the last 2 times I watched it. Y'all ain't gonna show shit. I'll find out about it on IGN or Gematsu or Silicon Era or wherever. I'll find out about it on some website. I won't watch your show because you're constantly disappointing me. So like, I think that some of these companies need to watch out for that. I think Square has a bad habit of that. Square has a habit of like showing all their big shit at Microsoft and at Sony and at wherever. And I'm like, you didn't save anything cool for your own event. And then when your own event comes around, it's a disappointment and it's your fault. And I'm not, again, I think you could be right just because I've seen so many companies do this in the past, and it'll be a baffling decision where I'm like, why didn't you had a state of play? Like it was 30 minutes. You could have made it 32 minutes and just put that bitch there. But I
mean, I think logically you're right. I think that from a marketing point that would make sense, but you know, like you said, these companies definitely do some weird stuff every now and then.
They do weird
but yeah,
shit,
I think that if it doesn't happen here, then yeah, logically, if Blue Point is doing it, that's the thing. Like we don't know if they are the ones doing it, but if they are, then yeah, it does make sense for them to show it off at like an actual Sony first party event. So you know, yeah.
I mean, like we've all said, stranger things have happened and will continue to happen. You know, these companies, we don't run them. We just, pay attention.
We just speculate.
we a lot of that, yeah. So I don't know what I don't know what got into the water. Everybody was like, for round 3, we just gonna pick some weird shit. We gonna throw we gonna do Hail Mary throws and all this other shit. So I guess I'll be a lemming and go along with y'all and do some weird ass prediction too. Well, not weird, but like an out there unlikely shit. Wonder Woman. We saw Wonder Woman at the Game Awards, and here's the thing. I talk about this all the time. I talk about how long it takes to develop a video game. Like the days of Final Fantasy 8, 9, and 10 are all going to come out 1 year away. That shit is over with. And it's been over with for a very long time. It takes 5, 6, 7 years to create a new IP. However, there's like Middle Earth, Shadow of War came out in 2017, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
It's either 2017 or 2018, but I believe it was 2017. That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
and
it was
they've been
2017. You're right.
There we go. That's a long time ago, and that's a long time to not be working on anything. Now, it's possible that they might have been working on a third Middle Earth or another new IP. That's what happened with Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights, the reason why it's been so long between Arkham Origins and Gotham Knights is because they were working on multiple other projects. Like they tried to work on a Suicide Squad game. They tried to work on a Superman game. They eventually tried to work on a Damian Wayne game. And each time, a Damian Wayne Batman game. That was one of the projects that they were going to work on. And each one they wound up shelving, or with the Damian Wayne game, they just broke it down. And
Rakeem said good.
Agreed. Each time they just broke it down, and instead, like the last time they broke it down and made Gotham Knights. And so like it could be that they were working on some other project and they're only a year in or 2 years in, which is basically no time. Or it could be that they knew after they finished Middle Earth, all right, with this Lord of the Rings shit, we hit our apex. We finna move the fuck on. And so we're gonna work on Wonder Woman. And if that's the case, it's been what, 4.5, 5 years? They showed that little trailer and they were like, hey, because like I think when I did a news report on this, I looked back at like some old job reportings, and their job reportings going back, I think, to at least 2019, if not 2018. It's been 4.5 years. I could easily see them showing up again. Like Jeff Keighley talked to Warner Brothers the first time, he could talk to them again. I don't like there's the Warner Brothers, what is that shit called? DC Fandom. That motherfucker sucked. It sucked last year. I watched it. It was 4 hours of ass. So like I don't think that Warner Brothers is behind that as much as I thought they would be. I didn't think that I thought they would like load it down with trailers for like movie trailers and video game trailers, and it'd be like, San Diego Comic-Con, and it wasn't that. And so that makes me think that maybe DC Fandom doesn't have the level of control that I thought they had. And if they don't, then I can easily see like Jeff being like, hey man, I like it. Come show the first bit of gameplay at Summer Game Fest. And so that's where I'm going with this. Like, I think that we'll see a first bit of gameplay. Maybe they don't have a release date. Maybe the release date's next year, like next fall. They could be like fall 2023. That'd be like 6.5 years of development time. That would be fine. But that's where I'm going for that one. So it's just gonna be Wonder Woman gameplay. Release date, I don't know about that one. Like, I don't know if we get a release date. So we're at round 4. And I want to start out with Rakeem, because Rakeem's never actually started before. So what you got for us, man?
Well, since Terrence did a Hail Mary and provided a game that went beyond Metal Gear, I'm going to go back and actually be a little safer this time. And I think we might finally see whatever Supergiant's next project is. Supergiant always...
That was one of my picks.
Yeah, they always keep their stuff real close to the chest.
Sniper alert.
My bad.
No, you're good. I kind of anticipated it.
But yeah, I love Supergiant. I pretty much bought literally all of their games at this point, so I know I'm behind this developer. Even if I don't play their game fully, I like buying their games because they make good stuff consistently. That's what I like to see from the industry. And it's been long enough, and with the success of Hades, obviously they got a lot of momentum going behind them. And I'm just waiting to see what creative idea they're going to do this time, because they never go to the well twice. So like they have the problem that Sage said that Platinum has, where they don't just double down what they do. But what they do is they always go to a new idea, but base it around the systems and mechanics they do well, but just apply it to a different genre. So like they've done visual novel, they've done action, they've done sports hybrid, RPG hybrid, and most recent game roguelike. So I'm interested to see what their approach or ideas will be for their next game. I don't know if it'll be more of an action game. Hell, they might go for something made like a rhythm game. You never know with these guys. They might try something different. I am super excited with them. I know their soundtrack is going to be banger. I can't wait to hear the tracks from them. I can't wait to see what the artistic style is going to be like. I heard their team kind of expanded over the last few years, so they might have a broader, kind of range. I'm just excited to see whatever they have coming out. And I think we'll see that sometime during the Summer Games Fest, during one of these big indie shows. But I think at this point, Supergiant has enough rapport in the community. They're probably going to have a bigger showcase than they've had in previous years. So they're going to give a longer spot.
Wasn't Hades published by Devolver Digital?
I don't.
That's a good
think
question.
So
maybe for the hard copy release,
That could be. It could be.
Yeah, because normally, because I believe
Yeah.
Supergiant is usually independent. Let's see, Terrence.
I think. Yeah, it looks like they just published it on their own.
Huh. Okay.
At least that's what Wikipedia is telling me.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of do a lot of stuff on their own. I know last time. Now I don't remember what Hades. They actually showed it off at the Game Awards, and they went into early access. So I'm not sure if they're going to the early access well again. Kind of show the game off and then kind of have an early access period later. Shoot, Hades, it had early access, I think, the next day or the next week or something like that. They went right into it. It was really fast. So yeah, Supergiant, new project. I can't give you an idea because they always do something new. So I can't do a sequel. I doubt it's going to be a sequel. It's going to be something new. So yeah.
Hey, that's a safe prediction, and I think that after everybody was like impossible shit, it's time to come back down to earth for a little bit. The only thing that would have been safer, the only way to get bold about that is to be like, nah, I think Hades was such a big success that they do try to double down for the first time ever. That would be a bold prediction just because like they've never done that before, and so you'd be betting on them to go against what they always do differently. So I'm not mad at you for just saying Supergiant new project period. So fair enough. Will, what's up? What's the fourth one, man?
I've gone down my list a couple times after looking at the ones I've crossed off that I've talked about, and I looked at one. I was like, nah, not this one. But then something came across my mind. It's just rumors. Because I intend on staying high in the sky for this one.
Oh shit, let's go.
Okay, this is what it is. I'm gonna stick with it. End of discussion. Y'all heard about those Silent Hill rumors, and that Bloober team is gonna be behind that. Did y'all hear about that?
Oh man, we about to get a Konami revival. Hey, if Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill are announced, let's go.
Castlevania next, baby. Castlevania
next. Now.
Ain't gonna be no Castlevania.
Yeah, but that was on my mind. It came to my mind when Keem was talking. I was just saying, like, wait a minute, Silent Hill. I remember seeing a bunch of news on this. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of perked me up a little bit. And I see who was behind it. I'm like, they can handle this. I think they can. Some people may doubt them, but I think they can at least handle it somewhat well. But I think a lot of the problems gonna come from Konami. I don't know how they gonna try to work this out between them. I hear that there's word that they intend on doing it. Someone's asked, and it was like, we can't speak on that because we trying to keep it down. We ain't trying to tell you nothing right now. So when we come back, we intend on telling y'all something soon. That's what they said. So soon, I don't know when, but Silent Hill's like it should be a thing. I want to see.
I had heard that, first off, I heard that there were 2 different Silent Hills in production.
Yeah,
one was going to be from Bloober Team, and then the other one I heard was going to be just I forget what, some Japanese studio. And so, like, it affected basically, like, and I think the Bloober Team one was supposed to be a remake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, are you just predicting that we'll get a new Silent Hill, or are you predicting all of that shit is true?
I'm predicting a new Silent Hill. That's what I'm looking for. No gameplay, but something that's going to signify it, even if it's just hearing the siren going off and watching a normal town turn into this metal hell.
Are you counting, when you say new, do you mean like remakes count too, or are you just saying like a new Silent Hill?
Remakes counting that too, because it's been so long since we've seen something from the series. So
I'll say this.
Summer Games Fest.
I'll say this. I could see them going back to 1 because 1 makes sense, because like the series has definitely gotten off track. And the thing is, ever since 4, really, it feels like they've tried to recapture the magic of the early Silent Hills. And I think that if you're going to do a new one, just take it back to ground zero. Take it back to 1. So
I had heard that the remake was going to be 2.
A remake of 2. Well, that makes sense because that's the most popular one.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. I kind of feel like I don't want to take too much away from Will's prediction, but I kind of I don't know. It feels weird to I don't say it feels weird to remake 2 before 1, but
do you think it feels phoned in to pick 2 instead of 1?
I think 2 is the obvious choice, But I think that if you're going to remake Silent Hill, it would make more sense in my head to start at 1 than to do 2. But at the same time, I can understand why they would do 2 instead of 1, because 2 is the one people know the most about. So, you know, it's kind of like Resident. It's kind of like well, no, they remade Resident Evil 1 before 2. So, yeah.
This is again going to be one of those things where you're right, but also like we could cash grab. So like,
it's Konami. That's a good point. It's Konami. They're gonna do whatever's gonna make them the most money. And you know, logically, that makes sense. So 2, yeah.
Give me your money.
Lord have mercy.
So you're saying Silent Hill, either new or a remake by Bloober Team, or just like in general?
As of right now, from what I know, it being Bloober Team, it'll have to be Bloober Team at this point. Whoever this other dev is, they're kind of over my head at this point.
All right.
So Bloober Team, it is.
All right. Okay, I got it. Terrence, what's up, man? What's your fourth one? You in space still, or are we gonna get something realistic from you? Also, I'm surprised. Like, it's too many niggas on this podcast that should have predicted something by now, and y'all been kind of quiet about it. I'm not gonna say what it is until we through round 5, but let's see. What's up?
Okay.
It may be one of my. I don't know if we're gonna have a round for quick like honorable mention picks, but it could be one.
Yeah, I'm gonna let everybody get out. Like, if you got any extras that you didn't get to and nobody sniped, I'm gonna let you get them out. They'll only count for half points though, so if you get them right, it's just half a point. All right, go for it.
Moving on to Xbox, I think since we got Redfall and Starfield were delayed for this year, I think we get more gameplay for Hellblade 2, and we get a release date, like a definitive release date. I think.
Okay.
Because those 2 games were pushed back, I think we might see Hellblade 2 this year. I think. But, it could be 2023. I'll put it this way. If they don't show it, then it's 2023. If they do show it, I think it's 2022. Just because, we talked about a few weeks ago how Xbox needs something. Like, the fact that they lost Starfield and Redfall, those are the games that they were counting on for this year, or at least Xbox gamers were counting on for this year. And since they don't have that, Xbox gamers are kind of like, well, we don't have any exclusives for this year. You suck, Microsoft. So I feel like Microsoft needs something out there to show that there's a reason to buy an Xbox this year. And there's another game that I have, but I'll get into that for the honorable mentions, just because it's kind of one of those games where I don't have really that much to say about it, other than I think that it's going to show up, and that's kind of it. But yeah, as a person who played the first Hellblade, I really enjoyed it, as I said before in the podcast, and so I'm looking forward to see what they do with Hellblade 2. But I think that I think it's time, because Hellblade 2 was announced in 2019. They showed the little full motion video game trailer, and when was the last time we saw Hellblade? Was that this year or was it last year?
We saw it at Games Fest. We saw it at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
Game Awards 2020. Yeah, right. So December. Right?
Yeah, December. So here's the thing. I don't think that's this year, just because I remember that Jeff Keighley talked about how we were going to see, the future of gaming, and he made it seem like the stuff we were going to see wasn't a next year project. It was like a down the line type project. So I do think it could be 2023, just because it looked, really close to being done. And when did Hellblade come out?
The original or?
The original.
Hellblade came out like, it's been a while. Like, hang on, I can look it up for you. It's at least like 2016, 2017 or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Hang on.
That's a long ass
2017.
Time. Okay, that's a long ass time.
Yeah.
So I could easily see it being like a 2023. We got Hellblade 2. I don't think it's gonna save them this fall. I think this fall they're just fucked. Like, it's sad to say. I think the only thing they can do is snatch a couple of AAA games and put them on Game Pass and be like, hey, you ain't got to pay $70. Just give us $10 a month and. But I just don't. I don't think there's any way out for them, because and are you done with your prediction?
Yeah, pretty much. I just think that
just because it ties.
I would like to think Hellblade 2 would show up at Xbox's show when they announce a release date, but like you said, it could be another year off, so they might just be screwed this year, unless the other game that I'm going to talk about comes out this year. But I also think that might not be a 2022 thing. It's probably next year, so
So the reason why I asked if you were done is just because it ties into what I was gonna say. Like, it kind of leads into my prediction because I was gonna do something safe.
Segue.
Well, safe-ish. Yeah, definitely a segue. I think they're fucked this year because like Starfield was supposed to come out this year, and that was supposed to be the big, you know, the only thing that was gonna compete with, you know, all the other big games that were going to come out this year. It was going to compete with Horizon. It was going to compete with Elden Ring. It was going to compete with God of War. It was going to compete with what's the game I'm missing? Zelda Breath of the Wild. And then most of those games got delayed, Starfield included. Now here's the thing. My prediction is I think we do see Starfield gameplay. And the reason why I say that is because like that game is delayed until like next year, like the middle of next year probably. Like if they had meant that it was going to be delayed until like until like January or February, they would have said that. They didn't say that. They didn't even say Q1. They said first half. That means that game effectively got pushed back an entire, like they have another year to work on that game now. And so like they could take the path of what Bethesda normally does and go, hey man, you know, we only show gameplay right before the game's about to come out, you know, 4 or 5 months before the game's about to come out. I think that's a death sentence right now. I actually saw a trailer. Well, not a trailer. I saw a YouTube skit by Mighty Keith that talked about like, hey man, I'm so hyped for Starfield, and like the other guy in the skit was like, but what is Starfield? It's and that's the problem. Like
the fake gameplay trailer.
You built all the fake gameplay trailer shit. Like you built all this hype up for this project, and nobody knows what it looks like. And that was fine when you were like, yeah, it's coming out 11/11/2022, which never had the ring that 11/11/11 did, but whatever. It was fine when you had that and you were gonna hit that date, and y'all were talking, you know, big talk. You were like, oh, you know, we're confident that we can hit that date, and then you didn't hit that date. And so now people are looking at your trailers and they're like, you know, what the fuck is this game? And people are like, oh, it's Skyrim in space. And it's like, that's not enough. What does this game look like? I'm tired of seeing
field full of stars, obviously.
Yeah. I'm tired of seeing screenshots of fucking doors and listening to listening to developers talk about, oh, you know, this is our ethos in building a game. Like, I would love to hear your ethos in building the game, but first, show me the fucking game, please. And thank you. So, like, I think that they have to just go ahead and go, like, look, the game is in production. We are working on it. It is coming along pretty well. We just needed to iron out a few kinks. We got it. Here's the gameplay. You know, they need to show people something to believe in and stop trading off of just, oh, well, we Bethesda, we made Skyrim back when you was in high school or you was in college. Like that, my God, that was a long time ago. Like that was 11 years ago. It's about to be 12 when you come out with your next game that doesn't suck. Well, I mean, you know, Fallout 4 didn't suck, but Fallout 76, you had to fix that. Like it took you forever. You was out here talking about 16 times the details and we got 16 times the bugs. So like you had to fix that to make it a product that people wanted to buy. And then now, you know, you're off you've been off the radar for all these years working on Starfield, which you needed to be, but you got to also show us something. It's time. It's time to show us. Like, I understand you want to do 6 months or 5 months, but you don't get that this time. You just need to show some gameplay. So, and I mean, I know it's going to be some Bethesda sycophants that's like, no, they don't have to show us anything. This is just how Bethesda gets down. And if you don't like it, you just don't have to, like, no, motherfucker, that's not how it works. If you want to sell 12, 15, 20, 30 million copies of a game, you going to have to show something this time. So that's just it. That is what it is. All right. So we are now on round 5, excuse me. Final round. Terrence.
Fight.
What's going on, man? What's your fifth and final prediction? Final.
Okay. I'm gonna go with this one. Because you mentioned Capcom earlier, and you said that Capcom, they need something else than like the games that they've been announcing. When I was doing my research for, you know, everything for this, when I was doing it last night, I noticed that there are quite a few anniversaries this year. Like there's Persona celebrating their 25th. The reason why I actually said Metal Gear was because their 35th anniversary is this year.
Final Fantasy VII is a lot of anniversaries. You're right.
Yeah. here's what I'm going to go with for Capcom. I think they're going to announce a new Mega Man game because this is Mega Man's 35th anniversary. Now, does it come out this year? No. I think it'll come out like maybe next year or 2024, but I think we'll get a Mega Man game announcement. What kind of Mega Man game will be? Hell if I know. But I think a new Mega Man game is coming, and I think it'll be well received. I think as long as it's not another 2D old school like NES style Mega Man, I think it'll be what, because I think people are tired of that now. I mean, I think they could do another one like that and people would buy it, obviously, but I think we need to get away from that, man. It's just
Wrap
the
that
same
shit
old,
up.
same old. Because the thing is, it's like, it's hilarious. If the original creator of Mega Man couldn't make a spiritual successor to Mega Man and make it work, then I can kind of understand maybe Capcom's fear of maybe trying to do something different with the franchise, but I think it's just time. I don't know what they'll do. Like I said, there was at one point there was that Maverick Hunter game that kind of looked like Metroid Prime. I don't know if they'll go in that direction again, but I just think Mega Man needs something, man. He's just been sitting there on the back burner for the longest time, and that's Capcom. That's one of Capcom's boys. So I think it's time for a new Mega Man game. I just really do. So where it will be announced? Could be Summer Games. Could be Summer Games Fest. I could see that maybe happening there. Could even be at State of Play. You never know. Yeah, I think it's a toss-up as to where it could be. I just think it's going to happen.
So this was in the ransomware leak that we're not supposed to know about. You know, when Capcom it got its ransomware leak and we found out about all these games that were supposed to be coming out.
I was looking at that too. That kind of leaned. That's kind of also the reason why I leaned in this direction.
But see, here's the thing. The leak was described as Rockman Match. Now, to me, that sounds like a mobile game. You know, like a Match 3 type game or something like that. Like that's what that sounds like.
That could happen.
Oh no!
I'm gonna say that still counts for your prediction, but would you be okay with that? Like if the announcement was like, "Here comes Mega Man to the phones," how would you feel?
Oh God!
I think the fans would be disappointed, to be honest. Like for me, I mean, I like Mega Man. I'm not like a hardcore Mega Man fan. So if they don't end up announcing like a real console game, then you know, it is what it is. I mean, we have to acknowledge at this point that mobile gaming is a thing, and it makes a lot more money than people want to give it credit for. So I can see
it makes a lot more money than consoles. So
yeah. So I mean, console fanboys, they can be heard all they want, but hey, money talks, and mobile games are doing well right now. So you know, hey, if they go in that direction, I can't really be mad at it because maybe that's what's best for Mega Man now to kind of garner some attention and kind of get the IP out there more, because the only people who really, I guess, kind of follow Mega Man now, they know him from Smash, of course, but really it's just like the OG fans that kind of like care about Mega Man like that. So I could see maybe them putting out like a mobile game to kind of get some new fans and then maybe build off of that. It would suck for the the OGs, but it is what it is. So as far as how I feel, I'm kind of indifferent. But I know that the actual fans of Mega Man, they wouldn't want that at all.
And you got the OG fans, but you also got the nostalgia zoomers. Like these, I don't know if y'all have seen these people, but they're like, you have these kids that are like, you know, between 16 and 20 on Twitter, and they're for whatever reason obsessed with like shit that happened in the 90s and in the 80s. They're basically, you know, the hipsters of this new era. So like you have those people too. But yeah, I agree. Like I totally think that. I do think it's time for a Mega Man game, and I do think it's time for Capcom to do something other than just the same 2 IP over and over again. That's why I predicted Dragon's Dogma. So hopefully we do get a Mega Man game. I would personally, the only time I really fucked with Mega Man was like when he was an RPG. So like, you know, Battle Network, Star Force, Legends. The Legends.
I would love to say something Legends related could happen, but X. I would love to say something Legends related would happen, but that's even more of a shot in the dark than Metal Gear Solid remake, in my opinion. So.
Oh, I wouldn't go put that on you. I as far as I'm concerned, they stuck on the moon, and that's just the end of it. I mean, you know.
Yep.
You're probably gonna get Mega Man Y instead.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Rakeem, final prediction. What's up? What you got for me?
All right, for my final prediction, if you know me, this is no surprise. Test your might. NRS, where you at? The summer's games, a lot of their games have been debuted during summer.
They try
like
not to.
E3s
They try
in
to
the
see if
past.
they're gonna get bought or not.
Exactly. So they better get that game out fast. So Mortal Kombat 12. I think it's been enough time. You know, they've gotten that extra time out because we all know what's going on with Warner Brothers and WB merger. We know it was heard. They might have been Injustice 3 and they pivoted to MK. I'm interested in seeing what they do with MK12. I wonder if they're just going to expand on MK11 and just kind of add more mechanics. And like, it hasn't been that long that I feel like it's going to be a huge, drastic change. But I think with the reception of MK11 by like some of the competitive community, it's still sold incredible. But like how some people kind of want to see some mechanical differences and like some of the mechanic changes they didn't like. I like to see something new. I kind of like the gameplay to go a little more bombastic and like over the top a little bit, like it was in X, not too crazy where it was, too one sided and you just get destroyed by Liu Kang in a corner for 30 minutes. But just something, it's kind of, I'm interested in seeing like a return of some of the older classic characters again. We've had a lot of new characters recently. And just like a kind of almost like the Armageddon of this era. Like, in the 3D era, we had these 3 games. We had Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon. And the Armageddon was like the big blow-off game of that era. If this is the end of this era, of this era of MK, under the WB umbrella before they get sold off, I'd like to see the last game be like a big celebration of MK, like the Smash Brothers Ultimate of MK. Take some inspiration from that and just kind of make it a celebration of the whole series. I'm looking for something from NRS. I believe it will show off at the Summer Games Fest in some capacity. Probably just a trailer. It likely will not come out this year. It may come out next year. Most likely mid next year, maybe the May, June timeline like they usually do. Maybe they push it back a little further. I don't know if they want to change it up, but that's what I'm predicting. I need some Mortal Kombat in my life. Something fresh and new.
I respect the hell out of this prediction, even though we've talked about this in the past, and I've been like, hey, man, I don't think they're going to break from tradition. I think they'll pop up at the Game Awards this year, actually. I think they'll be at the Game Awards this year. We'll make that, we'll come back around to that when it's time for the Game Awards. But like, I think this year they'll like announce it, and it'll pop up in like late to mid-April, the same way because they always pop up in April. They always want that same slot. I think their games always sell well in that slot, so like I can totally see that. So I don't know, like if they are like just kind of just like we got to get this game out the door. We need to announce it. We need to let everybody know that it exists so we can at least maybe try to get it out next year. Maybe it does show up here. I can't say that it wouldn't. Will, what's your fifth and final before we get to the honorable mentions? What's up?
Okay, so once again, I'm kind of back on Nintendo's tail again, even though this is kind of more or less me on Nintendo's on a little bit on Nintendo, a little bit on someone else. I'll just say it like this: it had a title reveal, and then it finally had a trailer. I think this is when we gonna see it. I think we're gonna finally see a date, and I'm gonna throw another game on top of that too, because I think it's kind of might be a thing happening there too. Bayonetta 3. I think it's a big possibility we finally get a date on that because they've been quiet for way too long. 8 months ago, we had a trailer.
That's a good point.
Showing off what Bayonetta looks like. And everything looks amazing. I'm just like, we're here now. You're showing us something, which I'm grateful for. Now, I just need you to come on and tell us, when do we see the rest of this? We know it's going to be on the Switch. We know what to expect. I'm pretty sure it's going to run well, at least by Platinum Game standards. It's going to run well, I hope. So, Bayonetta 3. Now, the other thing that ties into that, if y'all remember seeing that trailer, y'all remember that dog that was in that trailer, that mascot? I hear that there's been rumors of an Astral Chain 2 coming up because Astral Chain did pretty well, apparently. So, I'm like, if we can get that, I'm thinking maybe both of these might have a chance of popping up, but I'm banking solely on Bayonetta 3 at this point.
Okay, so you saying just Bayonetta 3 is going to be here. That's your prediction.
Yeah, my prediction is Bayonetta 3, we shall see a release date, hopefully.
Okay.
Like I said, it's been 8 months.
If I'm not mistaken, it's scheduled for this year.
Yeah, it's scheduled for this year, but I don't know no specifics. So I think we're gonna see an exact date pull up on the screen. We're gonna see more gameplay, and we're gonna see a date.
Okay. I like that. Because I mean, it is time. By the way, that was another snipe. That was like an alternate for me though. So like, it wasn't like it was in the main ones, but that I like that prediction. I like the idea behind it. Like, okay, 'cause it's time, and like, hopefully that's a hit for them because it's been a while since Platinum had a hit. You know, they got Babylon's Fallout with
It fell all right.
with he ain't never lied.
It's still falling.
Man, they
One
got few.
player.
You got no. I mean, like, it's more people than just one person playing that because that was just Steam and they didn't count console. But it still ain't a lot of people playing that. It's definitely probably max a couple hundred people playing that game, and they all they doing is rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic as they add new characters, new content. It's like, all right, bro, like this game, it ain't gonna make it. It's not gonna make it. But I guess they. You say what?
It's not gonna be No Man's Sky. It's not gonna come.
Hell no! Like,
no.
If they can make this into a No Man's Sky from that point on, nobody should ever cancel a games as a service, like ever. I don't care how shit the project is. I don't care how much people hate it. If you can turn Babylon's Fall around, you can turn any project around as long as you're willing to spend the money on it. So hell no. But yeah, I think Platinum desperately needs to knock another one out of the park. Astral Chain was a very good game from what I understand. And Bayonetta 2, people like Bayonetta 2. So like Bayonetta, the series has a lot of goodwill. So I definitely think that they should be there. That's why I was on my alternates. Like, it was one of those, like, somebody else don't say it, I'm gonna say it. But another game that this one wasn't even on my list, but like, not a damn one of y'all said Street Fighter.
I got my reasons for not saying Street Fighter.
I feel like that's a given, so I'm kind of like,
yeah.
I didn't really want to bring it because I felt like that's too obvious. That's the only reason
take the free points.
I mean, look,
hell, it's too late now. I don't want to hear nobody bring it up. It ain't no extras. I'm not gonna use it as an alternate. Like when I do the honorable mentions, I'm not gonna do none of that. It's too late now. But somebody should have said Street Fighter because there are rumors that that's gonna be a state of play. Like I don't know where Dragons. Like yes, they're like the same guy that predicted the Sony State of Play, Jeff Grubb, was like, yeah, I believe this is gonna be where your Street Fighter 6 is gonna be at. So
that's interesting.
Okay.
I think now just real quick, I did think that it would show up. I thought that it would show up at Summer's Games Fest and obviously show up at Evo because that's the biggest fighting game tournament in the world. So
of course.
Those are the. I did think it would show up in June at one of these shows, but I just personally was just like, I'd rather go for something a bit more exciting than the same old. That's just me.
Look, I appreciate y'all for shooting for the stars. Y'all actually did an excellent job. Like all of y'all's predictions were really good. Like y'all managed to thread the needle between like safe and like are you out of your fucking mind? Like everybody managed to do that. So I appreciate everybody for that.
Hey, hey, everybody should know from now on here at No Level Cap, we ain't basic. We reach for the stars. Let's go.
There is no cap.
Exactly.
So I'm torn on my last prediction.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna talk about them regardless. I don't. Do I want the points or do I want to be ballsy? Let's see. Okay. Will went kind of to me safe because I feel like 2022 is a given for Bayonetta. I mean, it's still on the schedule, so it'll be like, in other words, like if they don't show it, they're delaying it. Rakeem went kind of ballsy in my opinion. I don't think Mortal Kombat pops up. Terrence went kind of ballsy. Do I want to like balance the scales and be even?
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Do it.
I mean, actually, both of these are kind of ballsy. Neither one of them is really all that. They both kind of ballsy. So fuck it. Final Fantasy IX remake. That was on the Nvidia. That was on the Nvidia leak list. This, by the way, is actually not the safe pick. The safe pick was, this, by the way, is the safe pick. The non-safe pick is something else. But Final Fantasy IX remake was on the Nvidia leak list, and that list for Square, more so than any other developer, has been on point. Like people, when they first when they first saw it, people were like, "Man, it might be somewhat accurate, but like who's gonna believe Kingdom Hearts 4 is gonna get announced anytime soon? Psych bitch, you thought. ActRaiser remake, like when we should have known when ActRaiser got announced. Like, who the fuck was thinking about ActRaiser? Not no damn body. And they still brought that out. And so, like, to me, that like every time we got a new announcements from Square, they all fit into that NVIDIA leak list. And I think one of the only there's like 2 left. There's what's up, Terrence?
I was gonna say, well, maybe you're about to talk about, but let me ask you this: if they announce Final Fantasy IX remake now, do you think that means we see it before we see Final Fantasy VII remake Part 2?
Yes. Yes. Because I don't like this isn't Square does not have the resources to do 2 Final Fantasy VII remake like level projects. They don't have the resources for that. Like they're already working on Final Fantasy 16, and that's a big project. They're already working on Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. They're already working on Kingdom Hearts 4. All of those are big, huge projects. I don't think this is that. I don't think Final Fantasy IX is the big, giant, fuck you. We gonna need to split this across multiple games, like it's multiple discs. Like, I don't think it's all of that. I think we're gonna get something along the budget level of a Trials of Mana.
Oh, okay. That actually kind of tempers my expectations. Okay, gotcha. Because I was thinking like, damn, you think Final Fantasy IX remake would happen before Part 2? But okay,
yes,
that makes sense if it's like the Trials of Mana remake. That makes a lot of sense. Okay,
because it fits it better too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I can agree with that. Now that you all mentioned it and I pictured it in my head, yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
Because here's the thing, like I've seen people go like, oh, it could just be like they could have mixed the terms up between remake and remaster, which is possible. But the thing is, we already got that from them. Like, it could just be a remaster that kind of touches up the background, and then like they already did that. They did a Final Fantasy IX remastered. If they're talking about a remake, you say what?
I said they did it with Final Fantasy VIII too.
You are correct. Mm-hmm. They did that already. So if they're going to do it now and they say remake, I think they mean remake. I just don't think budget wise they're going to do a Final Fantasy VII level remake. I think we get something in the vein of a Trials of Mana. I think that's a style that you can get a lot of mileage out of, and I think because they already like that's how Live Alive came about. Like the Live Alive remake, like apparently someone at Square, like a higher up, was like, "Yo, man, with this HD 2D thing, we could get a lot of money out of this. Like, make something else in HD 2D." And that's how Live Alive came along. And so, like, I feel someone at Square should have said, hey, man, we could get a lot of mileage out of this Trials of Mana style remake. Let's just do that for, like, some of these Final Fantasy PS1 projects. And so, like, I think that we can get that, like, we know, like, the only 2 projects I think that haven't been announced that were on that leak list for Square were Final Fantasy IX Remake and Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. And so, like, one is more like Tactics feels like it's the most likely because it's the easiest to do. But I just think that it's, I mean, like, why not? Like, you've got it. I think this is an anniversary year for Square. And so, like, why not just go ahead and jump into the pool and be like, hey, 16 coming out. Here's some 7 remake news. Here's Final Fantasy IX remake. Fuck you, we're Square. We do what we want. Like, why not? So that's my 5th and final prediction. Anybody got any honorable mentions?
I got one.
All right. We'll get Will first, and then we'll get Terrence.
All right. One that kind of came across my eyes when I was looking down a list of games one day, and I was like, you know what? We ain't seen this in a minute either. We know it's kind of in the works, but Lost Soul aside.
I feel like we just got some gameplay of that or something.
Yeah, like I feel like we got something of it, but like I feel like it's just kind of been like it's been getting done. Like it's like they've been putting in the groundwork, and we see bit by bit, but we hadn't seen nothing about it. Like, hey, it's gonna hit the shelf at this day, or it's gonna be digital only, or is it gonna be a limited run type thing? We hadn't seen that, so I feel like we're still getting some stuff out of it. I feel like maybe this year. I'm not going to necessarily say Summer Games Fest, but possibly a little later on down the line in its own little thing, in its own little isolated thing. Yeah.
Okay. I can see that at like in September. Is that the only one? You got any more you want to like just gun out?
Oh, the one I want to just gun out, Black Myth Wukong. I want to see some more of that.
Oh shit! I forgot about that game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Monkey
Black Myth
Soul.
Wukong. Yeah. That's it.
Monkey
That's
Souls.
it for me.
All right, Terrence, what's up? You got any honorable want a shotgun out?
I got 4, and I'm gonna go through them real quick. For Nintendo,
Oh,
I think it's time for a new Donkey Kong game. Now I know Retro Studios is working on Metroid Prime 4, and I don't think Metroid Prime 4 we're gonna see that anytime soon, because based on what I was reading about it last night, I think that game is still kind of going through some issues right now. So I don't think that's gonna happen at the moment. But I think that we could get a new Donkey Kong game made by someone. We'll just see.
Yeah.
I think a new BioShock is coming. I don't think it's gonna be made by Kevin Levine's team. I think that's been talked about, that they're doing something else, and their game I think is in development hell right now. But I think if we do get another BioShock, it's gonna be made by someone else, and we'll see. I think that could be a Summer Game Fest thing. We'll see.
BioShock is in development by BioShock is in development by Hangar 13.
Hangar 13. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll see it. I think there's a strong possibility.
Okay.
Nice.
This one is an Evo prediction. I think because Tekken 8 is coming. Tekken 8 is coming at some point. I think that it will get announced at Evo. I think that makes the most logical sense for it to be announced then. And lastly, since Redfall isn't coming this year, I think for Xbox's show, they announced Contraband last year. I think we could potentially see some gameplay maybe at their showcase. That could be a big maybe. It may be too soon. That may be more like a 2023 kind of thing, but it's a multiplayer game, and I think at this point Xbox just needs something to kind of remind people that, hey, we have, since Redfall isn't coming, they need something else to remind people why they need to buy an Xbox. So those are my predictions that I'm tossing out.
So Contraband, I think, is going to show up at Square Enix's. I mean, Square Enix at Microsoft and Bethesda Xbox Game Showcase. I think that's going to be there. Like, I definitely think that's going to be there. Rakeem, you got any you want to shotgun out? Or are you good?
I got something for you. So first off, Path of Exile 2. They announced this game, I think, about 2 years ago. They're still currently working on the regular Path of Exile to still bring updates to that, but they've already shown off Path of Exile 2, I think twice, with 2 major updates and incremental updates. I think it's time to kind of, hey, this is the bad boys. It's about that time where it's like we need to show some more of it. Give us release date. I think we'll see Path of Exile 2. The new EA Football Club rebranding for FIFA, since they lost, the issues they had with FIFA.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of think we might see the rebranding of what that looks like now. Maybe change the name of it or whatever. That could be.
They confirmed that FIFA it'll still be FIFA this year.
Okay.
And then the rebrand starts next year.
Okay. Well, we're definitely getting a FIFA this year, so I'm pretty sure FIFA's going to show up at some point during Games Fest. I think that's a gimme. My other ones, Dialfield. That's like a smaller project, so we might see some more gameplay of that later. Maybe late this year, maybe like December or something like that. Maybe early next year.
That game is supposed to come out this year, and I think it's going to be at Sony the Sony Showcase.
I had a feeling. Yeah, I just had a feeling. Looking, I was like, this is going to come out this year. So I'm actually looking forward to that, because their take on RTS is interesting, because Japanese developers don't really do RTS like that. That's pretty interesting. And my last one is actually just some more gameplay, or maybe a new class announced for Diablo 4. But that's hopeful thinking. I think Blizzard needs all the positive press it can get. Show something from any game.
Shit,
I don't
ain't never
care
lied.
what it is. They need to show something. It'd be a Y expansion trailer. I think they just had a Y expansion, but another Y expansion trailer for no freaking reason. They need to bring out Diablo 4. I want to see probably a new class. Just see a new class and some gameplay of that. They have shown off some gameplay of Diablo 4 already. It is real, but we also know that Blizzard takes a very, very long time with bringing out new games, and they don't put that sucker out until it's absolutely ready. So hopefully, I think we'll see a new character from Diablo 4, some new gameplay. And that's all the choices I got this year.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, so with me, the ones that got sniped, I mentioned them, like Bayonetta 3, that was an alternate that got sniped. Ubisoft announcing a show that got sniped, because I had to press Keem on that. I wanted to see if he was going to say it or not. And then the other one that got sniped that I didn't say during the show was Grand Blue Fantasy. I definitely thought that they were going to give it a release date. I think it'll be I think it's going to be at Summer Game Fest. I think Terrence said it was going to be at State of Play. But I think one of us is going to be right on that. I definitely think that we're going to get it at some point in the next 2 weeks, in like that June showcase time period. It's just time. If you're going to release it this year, I don't think it's October. I don't think it's November. Me and Keem talked about this one time. September is the month in fall where you release games, but you don't want to be in the way of the big boys. And so that's where like you put your shit out in September where you don't get fucking crushed by like the weight of the big games in October, November. So like I think
scary.
Yeah, it's a lot of games it's a lot of games come out in September that's like, look, we don't want the smoke. So like I think that's where they're gonna be. The other 3 games I had, the fifth one, the one that I was gonna be as my 5th choice is Dragon Age. Like I think a Dragon Age trailer.
Man,
I know.
Yeah,
I know. Like EA said that they're not doing a showcase this year. They said they were gonna do. They said they weren't really ready, whatever that means. But they're still announcing games. Like they just announced Star Wars Jedi Survivor at the Star Wars Showcase. So like you gotta have. And Dragon Age has been in development for a while. I talked about this a little bit earlier about how games sometimes get rebooted. And that's what happened with Dragon Age. It did get rebooted. They did start over from scratch because they weren't going to make they were making some kind of games as a service type thing. And then they were like, all right, look, let's just make a proper fucking RPG. That's what the people want. I guess they got tired of fans putting their foot up their ass with Battlefield or Battlefront or both. So like, I think that Jeff Keighley said a lot of the third-party conferences that we normally see weren't going to be there. EA already isn't going to be there, but he said that they would show up in other places, and I could easily see Dragon Age showing up at either Summer Game Fest or Microsoft show. I don't think it'll be at Sony's show. Sony's got a real tight show, 30 minutes. There's not a lot of time. That's not time, especially when they're going to do PSVR bullshit. No offense to people who want PSVR 2. I'm just not interested. But brief tangent.
Look,
I'm not too mad at a lot of video games existing. Like, you know, if something's not for me, it's not for me. But when I tell y'all my blood pressure would shoot through the fucking roof if they announce another goddamn Iron Man VR, I will be fucking livid. Fuck that. Give me a proper fucking Iron Man game. Get the fuck out of here with this VR shit. I don't want to see that. I'm not spending $600 fucking dollars for like Iron Man VR. None of that. I'm not faking like that. Places? Hell no. What's up, Will?
Okay, so you mentioned that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I might have had a sign of Iron Man VR being a thing because some guy actually traded in an Iron Man VR whole set, game and all, at the store one day, and I'm just sitting here like, you have this just laying around in your house in the box, mind you. Like it's not just out; it's in the box, complete. And I'm just sitting here like,
yeah, that's where it
belongs. Have this. And what's so bad? We ended up getting 2 more the next day. And I'm just like, something ain't right. Why are we getting these?
It came old too, right?
Yeah, it came out, I think, 2-3. I think it came out 2019. No, it might have come out 2020. It might have come out 2020.
It came out sometime, but ain't nobody ever buying it because it went on clearance like twice.
I believe it.
It should have never been made. Like, just give me a proper fucking Iron Man game, man.
Yeah,
like,
it came out in 2020.
Yeah. I want to say I remembered it. Yeah, see, it came out. It was a cursed game because it came out in a cursed year. Fuck that game. Like, no offense to the people that worked on it. Like, I wish them nothing but the best. But I wish you the best on another fucking project. Get away from my favorite superhero, bro. I want a fucking console game, like a third person. I want a third person Iron Man game just like Spider-Man. No, I don't want none of that fake ass. I think I'm Iron Man. I'm gonna smack my friends in the face because I'm like shooting out repulsor. None of that shit.
Proton. You ain't that proton.
No proton cannon and none of that. Just give me a fucking Iron Man game on a console like it's supposed to be. All right. The last 2, and we're gonna wrap it up. Avowed. I think Avowed shows up. That's the game from Obsidian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the game from Obsidian. I think that shows up. I think it gets a release date. I don't think Fable shows up. That's like been a prediction too. You like, they're gonna show Avowed and Fable a lot of RPGs back to back.
Yeah,
they could.
I wouldn't do that either.
They could, but I wouldn't. But I mean, stranger things have happened. And then the last prediction I have is Crimson Desert. I think that shows up at Summer Game Fest. There was a tweet not too long ago from the developers of Crimson Desert. I am blanking on their name. Abyss something, I think.
You are black.
Can't be nothing else.
I know.
But yeah, I think Crimson Desert, like they talked about, like the developers talked about how they wanted to have another game come out. They wanted to have that game, like they had kind of cleared whatever problems they were having with development, and they said when they showed it again that they were going to have information about the release and the release timing and all the type shit. And I mean, like, Jeff is really known at this point for talking to developers that you wouldn't expect him to talk to, like Korean developers or Chinese developers, and being like, hey man, you know, would you like to showcase your game in front of like 80 million fucking people across the world? Which the answer is usually going to be yes, because like who wouldn't want that kind of exposure?
Yeah.
So he showed it at the Game Awards 2020. I remember because that was like one of the first times I'd ever done a live stream. And so like he showed it there, and I think he's going to show it again here. And I'm on the fence, actually. I think that game might come out this year. Like I want to say it comes out 2023 just because I want it, and the things that I want usually get delayed. But like I just have this feeling that game, like they want that game out this year. Whether it's great or not remains to be seen, but I just think we see it again, and I'm leaning strongly towards it comes out this year. All right, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. Like I think everybody, you know, had some great predictions. We'll be back, you know, in 2 weeks. I mean, we'll be back next week for like a different episode, and we'll be back in a couple more weeks after that talking, you know, who got right, who got wrong, who's the most right person. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor. I need you to hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to follow us on Twitter and TikTok. I need you to tell your friends about us, and I need you to do me a favor and have an excellent week. Peace.